Hello everyone, Jerome here from the Bonsai Supply, and today I wanted to talk to you about bonsai tools. I chose 8 different bonsai tools which I believe are the must-haves or the essential tools to get started in bonsai. So I wanted to explain to you what each one of these tools is used for. So let's get right to it. So talking about the first tool, which is the bonsai scissors, it is important that you get yourself an actual tool, bonsai scissors, and don't use garden scissors, because the bonsai scissors have really sharp blades and they have been made specifically for bonsai. Now with the bonsai scissors you can defoliate a tree, so you can remove the leaves, you can cut thin branches, and you can also trim the roots when you repot. Now personally I like to keep 2 scissors of the same kind, but I put a little electric tape around one of the handles, and I keep one of them for branches and leaves and the other one for roots. So when you use the one for roots, you're going to cut through the soil, and that might make your blades a little dull. And that's why I use 2 different scissors, and one that is going to keep sharp I'm going to use for the branches and for the leaves. The next tool that I have here is a bonsai pliers, or as they call them, the jin pliers in Japanese. These pliers are used to tie the tree into the pot. They're also very helpful to wrap the wire around branches, especially when the branches are very thick and the wire is very thick. Pliers can also be used to create deadwood. So you would remove the bark, strip the bark from the branches, all the way down to the cambium, and then you can break off the cambium and create really nice characteristics in the deadwood. I do not recommend that you use like electrical pliers, and the reason is because the front is squared instead of rounded. So when you go to tie the tree down into the pot, if the front is squared, you're going to damage the roots and the base of the tree. And since these are rounded in the front, I'm not going to do any damage to the tree. So the next tool that I have here is the wire cutter. Wire cutter is a very important tool because we use this to cut the wire. And once again, this wire cutter is rounded in the front versus being straight like you would see on like a electrical wire cutter, where the front is more pointed versus rounded. And the reason why it's rounded is so that when you go ahead and you remove the wire from the branches, you don't cut into the actual branch. If they are pointy, you're going to cut into the branch much easier, but since these are rounded, it stops right at the edge of the branch, and it is a lot harder to damage the branch. So I use this root rake to rake out the old soil from the roots. So when I go about repotting, so when I turn a pre-bonsai into a bonsai, I like to use the root hook to rake away all of the black soil, and the tweezers at the end really help also to pull out the weeds. So this is a multifunctional tool. Also works as a back scratcher. So the next tool, which is one of my favorites if you have watched our previous videos, which is the serrated sickle. So I use this to reduce the root base off of a tree, so the root ball. This you can cut through the root ball quite easily, almost like butter. It just goes right through. But I also use this to, when a tree is root bound, to carve around the edges of the pot, just to loosen up the roots so that I can take the tree out of the pot without damaging any roots. So I just slide this along the pot, and I just slowly create a groove all the way down to the pot, and then I can just pop my tree right out. So this is definitely a must-have. Alright, so next I wanted to talk about the concave cutters and the knob cutters at the same time, because these 2 tools are very similar, but they're also very different at the same time. So the concave cutters has a flat edge at the end, and it's kind of concave like that. So this is really good to cut branches at an angle, and also to cut branches flush back to the trunk. Where on the other side, the knob cutter you use to cut knobs, right? So if you want to cut knobs back to the trunk and go a little further into the trunk, just so that you can heal over that scar a little better, that's what you would use a concave cutter for. A knob cutter, sorry. So also, if you have like rotten wood on your tree and you want to remove that, knob cutter works well also. And if you have like a large piece of wood that you want to break down and create a nice little dead wood or driftwood, the knob cutters really work well because you can break the big piece in half and then slowly tear it down like that, and then reduce the dead wood and shape it quite easily. So this and this together, you can create some really cool dead wood. Alright, so the last tool that I have here is not just a wooden stick. Well, it is, but it's a chopstick, and this is really important in bonsai. So the chopstick I like to use to really dig deep into the root base. If I have a lot of fine roots, this will not damage it, where this might, just because it's metal. Where the wood goes right over the little fine roots and doesn't damage the roots, this is much better for that job than this is. This can also be used, and this is where the importance of this tool really comes in. You can work out the air pockets in the soil. So when you repot, right, you want to make sure as you fill in the soil around the roots that you work out all the air pockets. The air pockets are little spaces in between the roots in your soil that store too much air and too much water. And then if you have air pockets, your tree can die from one day to the next. It happens very fast. So therefore, you want to make sure to use the chopstick, push it down into the soil and wiggle it side to side, and just make sure that all the soil sinks down into these air pockets, and just make sure that the soil is very compact after repotting. So this is also the easiest tool to require, the chopstick. The next time you go down to your favorite Asian restaurant, you just keep your chopsticks after your dinner. Alright, so these are the 8 bonsai tools that I use the most when I like to work on my bonsai trees. And if you are watching this video before June 21st, 2020, so Father's Day, you are in luck, because right now we're running a Father's Day special on all of our tools for 30% off. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video today. Please make sure that you write in the comments below which is your favorite tool. I would love to hear from you. Make sure that you subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.